Hey, everybody, how are you? Demetri Panos here, along with Kit Bowen. She is the K of K. I am the D of D, and M stands for movies, and we are KDM, where we talk movies and more, and going to the movies. And today, Kit, well, first, hello. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Dimitri.
Awesome.
Yeah, we
Uh,
we are kind of backtracking a little bit on this one, but I feel like we both wanted to talk about this movie.
Yes, we both wanted to talk about this movie. We're backtracking because, well, we're at Las Vegas, Star Trek Las Vegas, which was a great time, great event held by Creation. Had a wonderful time, and much thanks to Kit Bowen, the K of KDM. Had a wonderful time. So yes, we are backlogging,
Backlogging.
backtracking, backtrapping. See what I did there?
I saw
Because
what you
like you feel the walls closing in on you. By any chance, Kit, are you kind of feeling that you may be in a
Hey,
trap?
stop.
That is what we will be discussing today. Trap by auteur M. Night Shyamalan. And as always, I defer to looks and quality over myself. Always I go to Miss Kit Bowen. So, hey,
Oh,
Kit, what did you think of Trap?
well, I'm sure we're going to talk about um Shyamalan's other films that we have enjoyed. This will probably be a Shyamalan talk. But let's start with Trap. He as a director, I feel that he has certainly created some amazingly, twisty thrillers,
Oh,
but
sure.
he's also has some spectacular failures. Um I
Yes.
feel like this kind of falls sort of in between. It's not more towards the not good film. Uh,
Yeah, I would agree.
premise is kind of an interesting premise, I have to admit. He's very
Hmm.
imaginative in his storytelling. He always has been. It doesn't matter if it worked or didn't work. His initial storytelling ideas have always been sort of imaginative to me, right?
Hmm.
So in this
And
case,
I would also take it a step further. I think as a director, he knows how to use a camera,
yes.
and he does stand on the shoulders of other greats,
Yeah.
right? And I don't have a problem with that. And by greats, I do mean like Alfred Hitchcock, Steven Spielberg ish, Brian De Palma, things
Yeah.
like that. But again, like a Brian De Palma, like who is always accused of stealing from Hitchcock, Shyamalan makes it his own. But yes, I mean, I agree with you. He's as a director, he knows how to use his camera and his camera lens very
Yes,
well.
absolutely. And like I said, I do feel some of his storytelling is, very, very interesting to me. It always has been. Um, so in this case, it's kind of a centers on a father and daughter going to a Taylor Swift-esque type concert. Yeah, a young pop star, with a huge following with young girls. Played by her name was Lady Raven, played by Shyamalan's daughter, Sharika. How do you say her first name?
Salika Shyamalan.
Yeah. I guess she is a musician too. I was just reading some of her credits. So she does come from music, and that, she played it very well. So anyway, the father daughter going to this concert. It seems like, on just sort of a dad doing a good thing for his tween daughter. Turns out though that he is, I'm not giving anything away here, that he is actually a serial killer, and that this whole concert was set up to trap him, to catch him in a way. So that you
Yes.
see throughout the whole movie, they're pulling men, of his type, of his description, I guess, um, to question him. And then there's this doctor, like a psychologist played by Haley Mills, who is part of the whole
She's a
FBI
profiler. Yeah. Uh-huh.
profiler. Yeah.
Yep.
So, interesting, right? So now Hartnett has found out that they're looking for him. So he's trying to find ways to get out of there without getting caught. but also not letting his daughter know because clearly his daughter doesn't know he's a serial killer. And I thought Hartnett was really he was effective. He was. He was, that sort of everyman kind of person, and you can just see the glimmer of evil underneath it all with this the smile and just the I thought he played it well.
Mhm.
But it just goes off the rails, man. I mean, it doesn't coalesce very well, and it clearly ended horribly because they leave the concert, and then it just really goes to crap, and you get to see the family, and Alison Pill plays his wife, and you know I guess everyone's like, what's the twist? And I thought the twist was kind of lame. I mean, there really wasn't a twist, I guess. And
Yeah. Mhm.
but yeah, it just starts to go off the rails. I think the first half of the film is pretty compelling, and you're kind of sort of half rooting for him to get out of there, but you're not entirely sure all the horrible things he's done. He does have someone captive at the present moment, and he's watching this person in a basement kind of thing, he's called the butcher, so obviously this guy's doesn't have much chance of surviving this thing. So, um, yeah, it just doesn't hold up, and it doesn't coalesce, and it doesn't, uh, there's so many missed opportunities that I saw that could have made it better. I think we just talked about it. Basically, if they just stayed at the concert and didn't have that whole whatever third of the, not even maybe a fourth
That third act, yeah.
at the
Mhm.
third act, basically. But I mean, like I said, there were parts to it that I liked. I thought Hartnett did a good job. Um, I liked his daughter as the pop star for a while. I thought she did a pretty good job with it, and the little girl, the daughter, was good. And I don't know. I mean, there was just there were moments to it, but just overall, not so good.
Yeah. I happen to agree with you very much, albeit I may have even disliked it a little more. And to be fair and fully transparent, I had problems with the trailer.
Yeah,
I started asking questions with the trailer, and that's not a good thing to have like, okay, wait, this none of this makes sense. Um, I do agree with you about Josh Hartnett. I mean, he was fine. But unfortunately, he's put in a movie that as it goes on, it just like things just start to unravel very quickly. And these it showcases the weakness of Shyamalan. And you know, we expect a twist, and there really wasn't a twist in this movie. And we should say, I'll put it and I'll note it when this gets posted. We have to talk spoilers. The movie's been out for over a week now,
yes,
so we will talk spoilers about this. But yeah, the end just like yeah, it was very troublesome and cumbersome. And to your point, had they just stayed in the stadium, one thing that wasn't mentioned is, and again, how he finds all this stuff out was just head scratchingly dumb, and it was all from a t-shirt guy,
yeah,
from this t-shirt guy, and it's like uh I've been to concerts before. I've heard about what it's like to get merchandise at a Taylor Swift show. These people don't have time for long conversation and stuff. Yet this guy, he's just call him Joe Exposition, because
yeah,
he tells Hartnett everything, including, yeah, the only way out is through the backstage.
yeah.
Like, and it's okay, okay, great.
But that's
So,
not even true.
well, I mean, it ends up being true because they
Well,
end up
yeah, but
quote
there were
unquote
still
escaping. Yeah,
cops back there,
they
and
tried
they
to,
were still
yep, plugging up that hole. And
yeah,
yeah, it was, I don't know. Once they left the stadium, it seemed like it would have been better served had it stayed in the stadium and maybe played off as real time-ish,
Yes.
kind of, right? Because I'll tell you something, for a movie that was an hour and 40 minutes, it seemed like it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. It just, and it kept on going. So, my problems again stem from uh Mr. Joe Exposition, which, if you've ever tried to buy a t-shirt or merchandise, these people, they don't care about you. They're just like, give me the cash, do this. What do you what size? Okay, here you go. Goodbye, go back to your seats or whatever. So that was always one issue. Then the other issue I had too with the trailer is, how do they know that this person is going to be at this concert, right?
Yeah,
Like,
then
how do
kind
they
of
know
have to,
that?
they have explained that,
And
and
they
it still made no
it
sense to
it
me.
makes no sense, because it comes like they found a receipt, like a paper receipt. It's like, when was the last time you got a paper receipt for like anything you've bought a ticket for? It's always on your phone now. It's always like, wait,
Well, it
huh?
doesn't even
And,
matter.
and it doesn't
How
even
did they
matter,
link?
right? That
Yeah,
he
it
was
was
going to
real
be
lame.
there.
It was real lame.
It didn't make sense. And they set up, look, I don't want to, I'm not going to sit here and bag on someone's child, or a child actress. I think Salika Shyamalan did what her dad had asked her to do. She took that direction as well as she could. I think the character was written poorly, and that's on her dad, because they tried to set this character up not only as being a Taylor Swiftish type of a pop performer, which I don't know. There was none of her songs. I I should have, like, at least one song should have stuck to my head like a Taylor Swift song would, but I don't get it. That again, that's not on her performance. It's who's ever picking,
I
choosing
didn't
the
mind the
music.
songs. I mean, they were that they were. I mean, I'm not a
There
Taylor
was
Swift fan
nothing
either.
energetic about it. There was nothing, but they also set her up as being, either she had a family member or there was something. They set her up that she somehow has an association with the butcher, meaning she knew someone who he killed or something, because she
Oh, I
even
didn't
says
get
something to
that.
someone. Really,
I didn't
because she
get
said
that.
something like, wow, that's a really nice ring. And to me, I was like, oh, does she know who that ring belonged to? Like, what? Like, and she was part of the plot. Like, she was part of, like, she knew that her concert was going to be a trap.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, like, why would you tell a performer that? Again, it's all over the
Well,
place, and it just gets worse.
she kind of had to know because I mean, the law enforcement was out in, spades in that thing. So she would have noticed that. And if she hadn't known what was going on, she'd be going, why are all these cops here? So, I mean, I get that. That's okay. But the whole Haley Mills thing was
Ugh.
completely dumb. Oh my
Oh,
God.
oh my
I'm
God.
like, Haley, I love you. You're Parent Trap lady. What are you doing?
What
What
are
are
you
you
doing? And then,
doing?
did you catch that one scene when she's with the butcher's wife Rachel, played by Allison Pill, and Allison Pill asked her a question about, oh, uh, I don't know, I guess, will I be seeing you, or can I? And Haley Mills's character, Dr. Josephine Grant, goes off on this a
Yes.
speech, and I'm like, what the hell is she talking? Like, does she know what movie she's in? Like, what is going on here? She just goes off on this speech. Um, oh, and I don't know. Like, there was so many problems with it. And again, another major thing that I had too is, if you can explain to me the end. So it comes down to the fact that it's Rachel, the wife, who kind of figured that something is not right and kind of turned him in, but didn't say who it is or whatever. But she set these wheels in motion. she tells him this, and then the butcher is like, "Up, all right, well, I guess I have to kill you. Um, but before I kill you, like she's like, well, don't you want a slice of pie? Celebratory pie?" And I was like, and as an audience member, I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, and he takes his shirt off
Oh, that's
and
probably
he
because he
has
was the killer. It's not
I
get blood on his shirt, I guess.
that to get blood on the shirt, but it's okay to have it on your skin. I guess I don't know. But he puts the knife down, sits down, and each of them have a slice of pie. Like he agrees to having pie, and he's like, yeah, well, you realize this only
Well, I
affords
mean,
you
that
five
one, I don't
bites.
care.
That bothered me because then she doped the pie. It's like,
But I'm
really,
just saying,
he's gonna
he's
stop.
up to
He's
this
gonna stop.
point, he'd been like the model husband father, right? So he probably felt like, okay, I'll eat this pie. It's good. I thought you did a good.
Yeah, sure.
That didn't
Yeah.
bother me. But the
Yeah, that
whole
bothered
idea
me a
that
lot. Like pie.
the
Pie
whole
does
idea
him
that
in.
she left the receipt and stuff, that was just didn't make any sense at all.
No, no, that didn't. Eating pie didn't. It just like, oh my God. And then the end is just kind of okay. Really, it's you just knew that like things just wouldn't
I
happen
actually liked the very end. The very
when
end,
he
that
pulls the
end shot.
bicycle scope. But oh,
I'm
the
just saying,
end shot.
just getting out of the restraints, being in the police thing, getting out of the restraints and
Sure.
laughing. I liked that. However, I just wish that had been pushed up and that maybe
Yeah,
that
another
was the
half hour.
last. Yeah, just just cancel out all of the BS at the house and the whatever and
Right.
all that. Just have it at the stadium, have him get caught, and then
Or
boom,
something.
get out, and then being able to escape or that he's going to escape the police truck or whatever.
Right. And
And
to
that
say this,
I liked that.
right. No, the final shot, yes, but come on, like they wouldn't have let him stop to pick up a bicycle.
Well,
They
I mean,
wouldn't have let like all that
it didn't
stuff was
matter
baloney.
how he got the device to get.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was just like, okay. And then again, it
Well, let's talk about
this,
Shyamalan stuff then.
yeah, well, yeah, I was gonna go into Shyamalan. He set himself up, of course he had the sleeper of The Sixth Sense, right? Nobody expected this movie to play out the way it did, right? And a major reason why I believe that movie is so successful is because of the ending.
Yeah.
It's kind
Yep.
of like a gut punch. Not too unlike, the end of say a Usual Suspects, right? Like
Right.
that it's a twist
But
that you
I have to tell you something.
yes,
Saw
please.
it with my husband,
Which Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense,
Mm-hmm.
enjoying the hell out of it. About, I think, I think after, like when he sees him sitting on the park bench across the road from the kid's house and stuff, after the
Okay.
first, that first shocking scene,
Sure.
he
Okay.
turned to me and he goes, "He's really dead." And I
Oh,
went,
your husband did.
"Yeah." I'm like, "Ooh, no way." And then, of course, he put that germ in my head. So the whole time I'm kind of saying, "Is he? No. Is he? No." So damn him, he put it in my head right away. He was right.
He spoiled it for you.
Little bit, but also not because I kept trying to disprove it, you know? I kept saying, "No, no, 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 no."
Well, ta- ju- so regarding The Sixth Sense, I think what makes it rewatchable is once you realize that you rewatch it with the perspective and you start to pick up clues, like
Oh, yeah.
because he does litter the movie with clues,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Sure.
And he does something similar with Unbreakable, which I also love, right? Like his early part of the career, I loved, but I think what happened with him is I think Shyamalan got trapped. He got trapped because everybody, like, where he might want to try to make a different movie, like, even if he wanted to make a suspense movie, everybody is now expecting the big twist. And that is hard to sustain. You can't do that if you're now because now if you're going into an M. Night Shyamalan movie, you're a more aware audience, a moviegoer. It's like, oh, I'm seeing, oh, and you're gonna look for the clues
Yep.
that give away that twist, no matter how clever of a writer and or director he is.
Yes.
And that, to me, he fell into a trap, but it was a Hollywood trap. I think it's a trap that Hollywood would set for him. And so instead of making like suspenseful movies, right? Like Alfred Hitchcock, like
He had to
he
put it in a twist.
he
Yeah,
had to put in a twist, and it had to outdo the twist in the movie
I know.
previous.
I know.
And that's where I felt his movies would somewhat falter. So in this movie, I don't think there really is a great
But
twist.
let's analyze that for just one
Yeah,
second.
sure,
'Cause
please.
definitely
Yeah.
Signs and I mean, definitely Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, there's a huge twist, right? Signs, not so much though.
Not so much, other
Except
than,
for that they get killed by water.
yes. Yeah. And that there really are aliens, because for a good part of that movie, you're wondering, are these people, they're putting tinfoil on their heads? You know, like,
I just thought it was great, yeah. I mean,
oh no, I like
Signs
Signs a
was his
lot.
biggest hit. Signs was his
Yeah.
biggest hit. And then he follows it up with The Village, which I actually really liked. And I really liked the twist to that too. That the
Again, that
character
was, I figured it out.
Did you?
And I had figured it out. And I'm like, and that's where it stuck me with, it's a problem, because now I'm looking for the clues when I should just be trying to enjoy this movie and have it take me along. And then at the end go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, and what was after The Village?
Lady in the Water, which again I know
Okay.
was considered sort of a problematic, but I again sort of liked it because actually what I had read was that these were kind of these fairy tale stories that he would tell his daughters, and
Mhm.
that he kind of decided to make a movie out of it. It was, it was muddled, and I could understand that, but ultimately I really liked it.
Mm.
But I know a lot of people don't. But what where he fell spectacularly from grace was The Happening.
Well, I think it was The Happening. And did he not do The Last Airbender?
Yeah, but that was 2 years between, well, I guess he's every 2 years, I suppose. Yes, The Last Airbender, yes. That
Yeah,
was
that one was a flopperoo.
But you know what
Like,
I just realized? He didn't direct this, but he wrote it, was Devil, which is actually a kind of an interesting
Devil,
little thriller.
and again, a literal like locked
Yeah,
door thriller, because you're trapped in this elevator.
yeah,
Devil was pretty good.
yeah.
And I know he wrote it. Yep.
And
Yep.
then
The
after
Happening was stinky. That's another
happening,
stinker.
and then After Earth.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
who knows what I heard he was like hired for hire thing that wasn't really his
Mm.
Genesis idea. But anyway. But then he hooked up with Jason Bloom of Bloomhouse. And in 2015 he did The Visit. And I'm like,
A
ah,
visit.
he's
He's
back.
back.
He's
He's
back.
back. He's back. Yep. And I really enjoyed The Visit. I really enjoyed the fact that he was back to what he was able to accomplish and do
Yes.
best.
Yes.
Yeah, The Visit's good.
Yeah, The Visit's
Uh,
great. And then he followed that up with Split, which I loved as well. I
Not
thought,
as big a fan of Split.
oh, I liked it a lot. And talking about a psychologist person, because I kind of was thinking about um the psychologist or the therapist, whoever it was that he was talking to,
Betty
playing
Buckley.
Betty Buckley. Yes, thank you.
Yep.
I thought that character was fantastic, and those scenes were very compelling in the film to me as well, and so I just kept thinking of Betty Buckley when I was looking at Haley Mills, going, "Can you be like Betty Buckley?" I mean, I just didn't, and then he starts to fall again. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening to him. Glass was awful.
Yeah. Did not like Glass at all. Did not
Old,
like Old at
old
all.
was an interesting concept,
Very much so.
just poorly executed.
He did, yeah, and the movies like Old, and even in Trap, he did not stick the landing at all. It's
No.
almost like he didn't know how.
Yeah. Now,
Great concept.
Knock at the Cabin was his one he just did before Trap.
Right.
And that was a little, again, an interesting concept,
I
but
found
again,
it to be,
couldn't I liked it. I actually liked
I
it.
liked it.
But just couldn't quite nail that kind of really good.
Yeah, I appreciated what he was going for, and I actually thought that it was kind of heady
Yes.
for what it was, and I appreciated Knock at the Cabin Door for those purposes. And I thought, for the most part too, he's able to draw out some good performances from
Yes. He always has
people.
been able to do
He
that.
always been able to draw out some good performances. So I did like I there was more for me to like at Knock at the Cabin Door than to dislike.
Yes.
And I appreciated that. Now, that that movie was based off of a book. So that
Oh,
could have
okay.
something to do with it, I believe. And this one was all M. Night.
Yeah.
He wrote it, he directed it. And I think
We
he
were
just
saying that he took his daughters to a concert at one point and thought about,
well, wait, like I wonder if there's a serial killer here. And if there is, like, if people knew, what would they do?
right.
And again, I think the concept is sound. Um, I just wish things are executed more, because I thought we were going to go back to that stage floor that they were next to that came up and go down. And there were things that were just not utilized. And, he tried to make these twists that just never
Yeah.
twisted
No.
at all. And for example, and again, we're talking about this weak third act, how he ends up getting outside of the stadium, to me, just didn't make sense. You have this singer performer who, again, there's this whole thing of, during a song, she brings somebody up on stage. Like, I think it's called Dream Come True or something to
Big
that effect
girl,
is the
yeah.
name of this. Yeah. And he arranges it because he somehow happens to bump into the person who ends up being her uncle, who chooses that person. And it's
Played
this
by
whole
Shyamalan.
yeah, played by Shyamalan. And
Shyamalan.
the daughter gets chosen, and but things are starting to squeeze in around him, and he takes Lady Raven and goes, look, can I talk to you in private? Like, my daughter's condition, which was a lie, I believe. And yeah, I need to talk to you in private, please. And then in front of a ton of people, they go back into her, I believe, dressing room. It's just the two of them, and he spills the beans.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay. And he shows her the phone and goes, hey, it's up to you. This person lives or dies. Like, you either get me out of here or this
I'm gonna
person
kill this guy.
dies. And I'm like, okay, at that point, Lady Raven, you just say no. Like, what's he going to do? Like, there were so many people outside of that room, that dressing room, and so many people witnessed her go into said room with him.
Hmm?
Like, okay, what are you gonna do? Like, no offense, like, if you kill that kid, that's more on you, and you have more of a witness because I saw you do it.
Right.
Then what's your game plan?
Right.
Like, because people are waiting for us to come out. Then what? But Shyamalan never, he didn't think things through enough.
Yeah.
I felt, and that's what ended up torpedoing this movie, I think. And if you made the character, because you said too, like, we've all watched movies where somebody unsavory is, like, is your protagonist. Like, you kind of want that person to win, right? It's like, let's take Silence of the Lambs. You're not you're not like filled with dread that Hannibal Lecter escapes. In fact, that movie ends on he's going after that doctor,
Yep.
whose name I forget right now, and you're like, yeah, okay, right. Yeah, yes. So there
Yeah,
are
and
movies,
Jodie Foster says, "Well, aren't you afraid he'll come after you?" She goes, "No, he would consider that bad form."
right? So he gets away, but you're kind of okay with it, right? And this, like, you could make a movie about a bad guy getting away. I mean, look how many robbery movies there are in which the robbers get away, but you kind of want them to, right? You kind of root for them.
Oh
Now,
yeah, heist
I
movie.
am not
You always root for
heist
the
movies.
heist movies. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that I'm rooting for the murderer, just like I'm not rooting for Hannibal Lecter, but there could have been a way. And you said something about Josh Hartnett's performance about Everyman earlier. If he's painted like that and the tension is big enough, then you're on the edge of your seat wondering, is he going to get away? Is he going to get caught? And there have been many movies like it could go either way. And as an
Right.
audience, you're still okay with it. If he got caught, you're like, all right, he got caught. That's the best thing that could happen. Oof, he got away. Is there going to be a sequel? But they didn't really, they did something like that. But at the end of the day, I didn't care.
Yeah.
By that time, I wanted it to be over.
Yeah.
And I don't want a sequel. No, I don't want Trap 2.
Well, didn't make any money, so don't worry about that. So
It did okay. I
did
mean,
it?
but not this week. It kind of, yeah, I was actually looking at so well,
Blake
it
Lively, whatever romantic drama did really well, I guess.
yeah, I mean, it slipped to number 6 and it's down 56%. It thus far week 2, 28.7 million, so it'll breach over 30. I don't know what the budget is on that movie. That was another problem I kind of had. It that didn't look like a stadium, the interior. It looked more like a gymnasium, like
Mm,
where they filmed a lot of that stuff. I mean, I don't know.
I didn't care
Um
much. I didn't pay
it
much attention to that, but yeah, I get you.
but it was,
What rating would you give this?
oh, I unfortunately my string of bad movies, I have to give it my one finger of it made me angry. I walked out angry.
You're
I
so
walked out angry.
you're always so get so mad.
Well,
I'll give
it's
it 2. I'm gonna give it 2 just because I did kind of like Josh. So for
yeah.
he
Uh,
kind of carried the movie for me a little bit. So 2 for
has
me.
he ever played has he ever played a villain
Villain? I don't think
that you
so.
can think of? Yeah, I can't think of one right now, but listen, I thought it was great to see Josh Hartnett back in Oppenheimer. We both agree on that,
Mhm.
right? It because it had been a long time. It's like, where
Right.
did this guy go? And it was good. You know, regardless of what Trap does, I hope the guy is back, and I hope to see him in more movies. I
Yeah,
also do root for M. Night to to
I
to
do
do a
too.
movie
I do
that
too.
wows us again, and it doesn't have to be a twist. I just want it to be good.
Yeah.
When
He'll
you
be
think
back. He'll do
you
something.
think, I mean, yeah, and I think even when you look at somebody like an Alfred Hitchcock, right? Sure, he does Psycho, and that's a big twist, right? But then you can do movies like The Birds and things like his movies didn't rely on
No.
a twist, and he made them very. He could do the same thing. Same
Yeah.
thing with a Brian De Palma. I'll tell you one technique that I love, just from a personal taste, that M. Night uses. A lot of directors have used, is the diopter lens. What's that mean?
Like,
It's when the background and the foreground are in complete focus.
yes.
And I love that technique. That's something that Hitchcock used, Spielberg uses a lot. Um, Brian De Palma, of course, had used that a lot, but many, Michael
Yeah.
Flanagan, I believe, uses that a lot too. I just love that technique.
Yeah.
And he does this a lot in this movie, and it's for me, it's just an always cool thing to do. He knows how to use a camera. Um, I still rooting for him
Yeah, me
to come
too.
up with a
Me
great
too.
story. Yeah.
Me too. Because again, I think he's a great. I do. I ultimately think he's a good storyteller. He just sometimes gets bogged down into what he's trying to tell. So, but
Yeah, and I
initially
ultimately,
he's always been, to me, a great storyteller. So,
yeah, and I agree, and I would say his heart's in the right place.
yes.
You
Yes, and now
know,
he's got
so
these 2 adult daughters who seem to be on their way up as well, so I know The
yeah,
Watchers, which was directed by his other daughter,
right.
didn't do as well, but certainly, she's got her feet wet now, and she might move on to doing something cool. Maybe they'll collaborate or
Hmm.
something, so
Yeah, hopefully
anyway,
so.
so
Yeah.
next week, I know I'm gonna be off again for a little bit of time, but I think we're gonna try to maybe do another backlog to review Alien Romulus, because
Yes.
we're very interested in seeing that, so
We are very interested. I am very interested in seeing that movie. I really hope it's good.
I know. I know, me too. So we'll try to squeeze that one in here, so at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So
thanks
and
everybody.
yeah, thanks everybody. And tell us, what is
Your
your
favorite.
favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie? I mean, for me, it's kind of like I don't know. I'd go Unbreakable, Sixth Sense. Um,
Me
Unbreakable is just as a comic book like lover,
yeah,
and at that time I was reading a ton. Like it was so good.
so
But I
cool.
also appreciate Sixth Sense a
Yeah.
lot. So tell us what your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie is, and where did you feel trapped in your movie theater? Like, did you want to leave, but you felt trapped? You're like, oh, it's gonna get better,
Or did you like it?
or did you love it? Um, Either way, just let us know. Thank
Yep.
you. We leave the comments open. Thank you for tuning in. We will continue to do more reviews. There's still a little bit of summer left, and boy, howdy, does this fall and going into beyond fall looks like it's going to be a rip roaring time
Yep.
at a theater near you. I cannot wait for Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is
I,
gonna be great.
I
There's a
can't
lot coming
wait.
up.
Yeah,
A lot.
so we'll have more reviews for you folks. And Kit, so awesome to see you.
Yes, Dimitri, too.
And I can't wait till we go to the movies together
I
again.
know.
Oh,
We're out of time.
you know what it might be? It might be that, oh, speaking of Split, what's that actor's name?
Oh,
He
yes, the
has
James McAvoy movie. Yes.
yes.
Speak No Evil, I think is what.
Yes. So that may be our next movie together. That looks
Hopefully.
like it would be a fun one.
Yes.
So awesome. Can't
All
wait.
right. Take care, everybody.
Bye all.
Bye.
Take care.